the voting and the manner in which it's happening right now. As my colleague Aruna reported, one Jawan of the CRPF CoBRA Battalion has been injured in an IED blast triggered by Naxals in one of the regions in one of the areas of Sukma. The Jawan was deployed for election duty and it hasn't begun on a good note with that IED blast taking place. It's a very challenging region, talking about the internal security situation for the forces, for the machinery, for the election machinery, the police and the centre to conduct these elections. And with this blast taking place, clearly the concerns have risen about the internal security arrangements. Let me cut across to Arunima. Arunima, you were talking about this IED blast. A bit more about the Jawan who has been injured.
So we are told that he got an injury, he got splinter injuries in his ankle, and he has been given medical attention in the camp itself. Tondamarka is one of the key areas of Sukma. You know, Sukma and Bijapur are the two remaining districts where Naxal presence is maximum at the moment. Earlier, Dantewada and Kanker and Narayanpur also saw a lot of Naxal activities, but now they have been pushed back because of the security camps that have come up. So Tondamarka is a key camp there on that axis that is being created. 3 axes are being created inside Sukma. To push the Naxals in a corner, to limit their activities, and Tondamarka in that sense is important. So when the Jawans came out for patrolling, there was an IED that was placed on the road, and that IED exploded, and that led to the blast there. Just to get a sense of whether these blasts really affect people, I would try and get you voices later in the show. But for now, I think what the security grid is focusing on, that these be treated as isolated incident, even though the injury has happened to the CoBRA Jawan. Because his treatment is happening inside the camp itself, they're treating it as non-grievous, non-serious injury, and they're hoping that the rest of the day will go off peacefully.
The rest of the day will go off peacefully. We hope that happens. Let me also check if my colleague Manoj Sharma is with us on the broadcast. Manoj, there are various villages which will have their own election booth for the first time. The electoral process in the Naxal-dominated belt of Chhattisgarh points out to the, the freeing of these regions from the Naxal effect, and more people are coming out to vote. This morning has begun on a grim note with that IED blast being reported that Arunima was talking about. Give us a broad sense of the security arrangements and the sensitive regions that Arunima was also talking about.
As you were rightly pointing out that, it's a big challenge to conduct election in this Naxal-infested areas, particularly in Bastar region. But I would like to show you the enthusiasm also. Right now, I am standing at Chhapar Bhanpuri village. This is Chitrkot assembly, and this is also Naxal-infected area. And you can see the security arrangement is there. But there are people, they are waiting for their turn to vote. They want to use their right to vote. They are waiting for their turn. They are standing here inside the polling center, but the equal number, even more than these people, equal number of people, they are waiting outside for their turn to come inside the voting center, polling center, and poll. And see how patiently, just look at this scene in this Naxal infested tribal area in Bastar region, how patiently these women, these tribal women, are waiting to use their right to vote. They are sitting patiently, waiting for their turn when they will go inside the polling booth and they can vote. Let me try to talk to them. आपकी इंतजार कर रहे हैं वोट करने के लिए?
ओ
कब से बैठे हैं?
6 बजे
6 बजे आ गए थे? अच्छा,
हाँ 6 बजे।
तो 6 बजे से आप आके यहाँ इंतजार कर रहे हैं कि आपका नंबर आ जाए। कब तक आएगा आपका नंबर? ये देखिए, आप लगातार, आप भी बहुत देर से बैठे हुए, 6 बजे से आए हुए हैं?
नहीं, 1 घंटा हो रहा है।
अच्छा,
7 बजे आए।
बहुत ज्यादा टाइम लग रहा है।
लग रहा तो है।
ये देखिए, ये आ गया आपका नंबर। देखिए, जैसे ही उनका नंबर आता है उसके बाद तेजी से अंदर एक एक करके लोग जाते हैं, और जैसे ही उनका नंबर आता है तो बड़े एंथुसियाज्म के साथ लोग अंदर जाते हैं। अपने बच्चों को, छोटे छोटे बच्चों को लेकर यहाँ साथ आए हुए अनुषा, और लोगों में इस बात में कोई शक नहीं है कि एक थ्रेट है, बाइकआउट की कॉल है अलग अलग जगह से नक्सलियों की तरफ से। लेकिन उसके बावजूद जो लोकतंत्र का सबसे बड़ा उत्सव है, यू कैन सी how they are celebrating this, the biggest festival of democracy in this Bastar region.
Manoj, it's a very heartening scene. आप जो ये विजुअल्स हमें दिखा रहे हैं, all these people standing in long queues to cast their ballot, and Chhattisgarh, Manoj, is one state where the women voters outnumber the male voters, and I can see the number of women who have come out to vote today. It's a very heartening scene.
Yeah, you are right. You know, this is separate line for these women. And let me tell you, I have been watching since 6 o'clock in the morning. In this polling center, this is a Chitrakoot assembly where the polling is beginning at 8 a.m. in the morning. But they have been waiting for last 2 hours to vote. Let me again try to talk to them. You know, they have come from their houses early in the morning, and when they go inside, they are so happy. You can look at their face when their turn comes. आप अंदर जाने के लिए इंतजार कर रहे हैं? आए कब थे सुबह, ये बताओ?
6 बजे आए हैं।
6 बजे आ गए थे।
हाँ।
तो मतलब ऐसा लग रहा था कि जब सबसे पहले आके पहला वोट आपकी पहले स्याही का निशान लगे, आपकी उंगली पे लगे।
जी सर।
है?
जी सर।
तो लेकिन आप पहला तो नहीं डाल पाए?
नहीं पाए सर।
थोड़ी निराशा हुई?
नहीं सर, ठीक है सर।
ठीक है। ये लोग बहुत देर से आए हुए ना?
हम 5 बजे से।
आप 5 बजे आ गए?
हम शोषण करीलू। हम लोग आए थे 6 बजे से जी।
अच्छा, ये जो नक्सली कहते हैं कि वोट मत डालो, उसका आपको क्या असर पड़ता है? कोई असर नहीं पड़ता। मतलब वोट डालना तो आपका अधिकार है।
अधिकार है, हम तो वोट डालते भी थे। जी सर, हम वोट देंगे, है ना? हम जी हमको मतलब मालूम है, सिर्फ वोट देंगे।
You can see they know it's their right to vote, and despite boycott call from Naxals, they are ready. They are using their right to vote.
Absolutely, Manoj. We'll keep coming back to you. Thank you for getting us those lovely visuals this morning. And it's a heartening story of how people have been in the queue since 5 a.m. this morning to cast their ballot, to exercise their right, a right which is so fundamental to democracy. And it's in, this is the right which is going to restore more law and order, peace and security in the state of Chhattisgarh, especially in the Naxal-infested areas. Arunima, coming back to you, looking at the demographics of it, the female voters, at least in this phase, roughly about 40,078 voters, and 20,000, about 20,84,000 are female voters here out of the 40 lakhs that I just said. And this points out why the number of schemes have been so much targeted towards women. This has been a trend in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh.
Yes, for the rest of Chhattisgarh, I think the comparison with Rajasthan or Madhya Pradesh or urban pockets would stand. There are a total of 90 seats, 70 seats would vote in the second phase. In this phase, there are 20 seats and 12 of them are in Bastar. And in some ways, Bastar is like the bellwether seats, because what Bastar says, turns out to have a huge influence on how the rest of the state votes in phase 2. That's been the trend year after year. And therefore, Bastar's issues are more typical to this area. When I have been going around speaking to people here about how they will decide who to vote for, forget the male-women differentiation. In large parts of India, you would see the women are really told by the male members of the family who to vote for. But here, the people here were telling me that the decision is taken at the panchayat level. There is a sarpanch who gets together all these people and tells them that this is the person you should vote for. So women in that sense in Bastar are not that liberated that they can make up their mind on their own. But the very fact that they are coming out and standing in that queue is a liberating experience itself. The vote itself, forget the choice of candidate, forget the choice of issue, the vote itself makes a huge political statement, because in these 12 seats there is constant threat to life. For you and me, when we vote, it's about getting up early, letting go of our sleep, or finalizing our household chores to decide what the issue is. Here the matter is of life and death, and therefore the fact that these people are queuing up early in the morning, deciding to defy the Naxal ban, Naxal diktat. And in Bijapur, for example, I told you that in Sukma and Bijapur, these are two areas where the Naxal presence is maximum at the moment. In Bijapur, regularly in the last fortnight, you've seen pamphlets have been thrown on the roads inside villages from CPI Maoists telling polling officials, don't risk your life, don't come here, we will not allow voting to happen. So that is the backdrop in which you're seeing the villagers queue up, defying the diktat from CPI Maoists, standing up for democracy.
Absolutely. More than 600 polling booths in sensitive areas in the Naxal-hit Bastar division will be under 3-layered security. Around 60,000 security personnel who have been deployed, including